इतिहास का मैं आईना हूं, तहजीब का रंग सुनहरा हूं। गंगा जमुना मेरी आंखें, मैं नए भारत का चेहरा। मैं कल भी था, मैं आज भी हूं, मैं नवयुग का अंदाज भी हूं। सारी दुनिया का घर मुझ में, इस मिट्टी का आदर मुझ में, मैं देशभक्त भी गहरा हूं। मैं नए भारत का चेहरा हूं, मैं नए भारत का चेहरा हूं। मैं बेटी की मुस्कान में हूं, मैं नारी के सम्मान में हूं। मैं बेटी की मुस्कान में हूं, मैं नारी के सम्मान में हूं। विज्ञान में और किसान में हूं, हर वीर में और जवान में हूं। मैं सीमाओं का पहरा हूं, मैं नए भारत का चेहरा हूं, मैं नए भारत का चेहरा हूं, मैं नए भारत का चेहरा हूं। अब चांद पे पांव जमाना है, सूरज से आंख मिलाना है। एक नया सवेरा लाना है, संकल्प नया दोहराना है। न ठहरा था, न ठहरा हूं, न ठहरा था, न ठहरा हूं। मैं नए भारत का चेहरा हूं, मैं नए भारत का चेहरा हूं, मैं नए भारत का चेहरा हूं, मैं नए भारत का चेहरा हूं।
Those visuals, the words, and that voice, each time set the tone so beautifully for what lies ahead. Of course, Amitabh Bachchan ji, the epitome of learning, unlearning, relearning, adapting, and making versatility your second nature. I read this line somewhere. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill, but the willingness to learn is a choice. And seeing you all having made this proactive choice, having taken out time to join in, and no matter where you are in your professional career, to spend time upskilling, now that speaks volumes about how dedicated you are towards your craft. On that note, my name is Pooja Bhamra. I'm an actor, I'm an anchor, and a proud EEMA artist member. I've just joined EEMA, and I find great value in the work that EEMA is doing. I met Geetika, and that's when I was convinced that, hey, I want to be a part of this movement of transformation that EEMA is trying to bring about. And truly, what a great time to be here in this business, because from what I got to know from my seniors, something of this sort never existed before, where the best of the industry came together to share their insights so that you and I could get better at what we do. Yes, my dear friends, this is the fourth upskilling session by EEMA Artist Committee. We've had sessions on time management, art of negotiation, leveraging social media for events, and now we're back with yet another engaging session where storytelling takes center stage. My dear friends, across the country, people are celebrating Navratri, the festival that honors the divine feminine, the fierce and nurturing power that resides within us all. This festival, to be honest, is not just a celebration. It's a powerful reminder of the stories that have shaped us. The story of Durga Ma, who triumphed over evil. The story of all those goddesses who represent knowledge, prosperity, and strength. These ancient narratives that have been passed down over generations are not just there to entertain, but to teach, to inspire, to remind us of the immense power that resides in the feminine. And in many ways, storytelling is a lot like the divine feminine. It is creative, nurturing, and a powerful force. It has the ability to connect us, to transform us, to heal us. And just as these goddesses are a source of strength and inspiration, a good story has the power to light up a room and to move a crowd. Let's do this, okay? Think about the last movie that you saw and that you really remember, or perhaps that book that you just couldn't put down, or even for that matter, an ad that is just living in your head rent free. Why do you think you remember that? Was it because it was factual or just informative? Or was it because these things had a compelling narrative? The answer, more often than not, is that the story. My dear friends, at the core, in our DNA, we are all hardwired for stories. Stories don't just give us information, they transform something within us. And that transformation is everything in this industry. It's the difference between a forgettable, mediocre launch and a truly memorable experience. It's the bridge between a brand and its audience. So, my dear friends, storytellers from across the nation, let's brace ourselves for this special session where the panel boasts of having done some incredible work in their respective crafts. Well, I hope you're ready to take some copious amounts of notes, because it's not every day that you get to learn from the best of the best. After months and months of planning, multiple date changes, postponements due to imagined preps, endless coordination on creatives, all that and lots more, we are finally here. And that wouldn't have been possible without our EEMA artist ambassador, Swati Sharma Singh, who has led from the front, right from the ideation to execution of this session. Let's give a loud cheer to the driving force behind bringing this session to fruition. Swati, thank you. And yes, screen is all yours now.
Thank you so much, Pooja. And yes, now I know what it feels to be an event planner. I have got a taste of that. Happy Navratri, everybody. Welcome to our amazing community, our experiential community who are joining us today. So, learning is not something that's attained by chance. It is something that is sought after with diligence. And congratulations, you have made that choice of being that seeker. And we are here to make sure that your presence today, these 90 minutes, are going to leave you filled with insights and knowledge, because we have some of the best names in the business waiting for you. Now, tell me this. Do you remember that who won that race between the rabbit and the tortoise? Do you remember which bird was it that used pebbles to get water from the pitcher with little water? Do you remember the name of the girl who was running away from the royal ball at midnight, leaving her glass shoe behind? Of course you do, because these are the power of stories. Stories stay with you for a lifetime. And today we are about to not only explore that power, but we are about to learn the techniques and to teach us. The people, the experts who are there on today's session, I'd like to really thank them for giving us the gift of their presence and their time. We have puppeteering visionary, a Padma Shri awardee, Dadi Padamji sir. We have a well-renowned cinema personality, writer, actor, Balaji Gauri ma'am. We have anchor, actor, concept creator, and a very successful producer, Dinesh Soni, and also award-winning stand artist and TEDx speaker, Rahul Arya. We have been able to put together all this. There were a lot of coordinations happening. There were a lot of preparations happening, and all of the creatives, the social media, none of it has been done by AI. It has all been powered by real people working nonstop. And I would like to also take a moment to thank them. Big thank you to our EMA Secretariat. Thank you, Khyati, Rimi, Tushar, Ankita, led by Preeti Khanna ji. Thanks for all the efforts that you have put in to make this possible. I'd like to thank my fellow artist ambassadors, my fellow EMA members, my friends from the community who stepped forward in helping us amplify this message. Of course, today's session is going to be very impactful and very effective, and it all blossoms from the leadership of our EMA president, Samit Garg sir. Thank you, sir, for your constant trust and guidance. Now, time to introduce to you someone who is the key force behind all of these sessions. Her motivation and her tireless effort is unmatchable. She is the chair of Imatis Committee. She is an iconic anchor, a film actor, and a transformational speaker. Please welcome Gitika Ganjudhar.
Namaste, and thank you, Swati, for that very kind introduction. But more importantly, thank you, Swati, for literally taking this on as a soldier. And we haven't even started, but I know we've delivered a hit. So thank you, and much applause to you. And I'm so delighted with the way you've taken ownership and you've rolled this out. Fantastic, Swati. 3 cheers for Swati, our EMA Artist Brand Ambassador. Um, Thank you all for joining, and thank you from the bottom of my heart to the esteemed panelists, Gauri Balaji, Dadi Padamji, Dinesh Soni, and Rahul Arya. Thank you कि आपने वक्त निकाला और आप हमारे इस upskilling session का हिस्सा बने हैं, contributing your time to uplift the skill of our artists at EMA. I don't have too much time given to me by Swati for this speech, so I'll make it really fast. एक फिल्म प्ले होती है जब भी हम आर्टिस्ट कमेटी की कोई भी सेशन को स्टार्ट करते हैं, एंड इस फिल्म के जो वर्ड्स हैं, आप नए भारत का चेहरा. तो this is the truth, you know. I mean, of course, the event managers, of course, our associate partners, our silver members, of course, all of them. But the story of India on stages across the world, not just in India, will be told by the artists of India, the kalakars of India, जिनका मेंशन बहुत बहुत सारे प्रोफेशन से पहले नाट्य शास्त्र में हुआ है, एंड जिनकी प्रमाणता उस लेवल की है कि नाट्य शास्त्र में उन्हें जो इज्जत दी गई है, place that artists have in the matrix of this universe is supreme. You are the storytellers of this creation, the civilization. And भारत के लिए तो जो ये भारत की जो नई कहानी unfold हो रही है, the transformation that we are all living in the midst of, इस कहानी का चेहरा आप सब ही हैं, और इस कहानी को कहने का दायित्व आप सबके कंधों पर ही है. You are the storytellers of the brand of a new India. This session, the idea of this session came about in a conversation, and it's, I think, the 5th upskilling session that we are rolling out for our artist members. And now for this one, we have a lot of other members also who've logged in. Please keep telling us areas that you would like us to roll out sessions on with regards upskilling. थोड़ा सा मैं 2 शब्द Imagine के बारे में कहना चाहूंगी, because we are now saying hello to all of you, our members, after Imagine. So at Imagine also, the entire artist committee and the EMA artist brand ambassadors and members also, pegged by the members, the artist members, we put up, I think, a recent show. We had the MCs all across the convention, which is not an easy job, and each one of them really pushed to deliver. We had an artist zone that was built by the executors of Imagine, very kind of them. An entire complete artist zone built with its own stage setup. We had LED screens, 2 of them across the venue, running films that showcased the work in terms of short reels of all the artist members who sent the same in. We had two workshops specially designed for the artists and EMAX. The suggestion that we had made to the NEC for the EMAX Kala Ratna Award, I was presented to Pandit Vishwamohan Bhattji, and we welcomed with the delight members into the fold of the EMA artist community: Shankar Mahadevanji, Sunil Grover, Jassi, Mame Khan, and Kutle Khan. So a lot of action happened at Imagine, and all of this was made possible by not just the committee, not just the ambassadors, but the artists who did step up and help us put this all out. सुनने में थोड़ा सा अच्छी चीजें लगती हैं, बट करने में बहुत बहुत मेहनत जाती है. And I want to urge all of you artist members who logged in for this event that now is the time this year. Please step out and tell your friends, tell your colleagues, tell artists you know, you work with to come join the EMA movement. Let's just roll out a 1+1. If each one of you, influenced one artist member out there and added them to the movement of EMA, I think it will be such a great service done to them and EMA both. We have initiatives lined up for the year ahead. Out of about 7, 8 of them, there are 3 that we can say without any risk here will blow your mind. So I'm just crossing our fingers and that we can deliver them in time and implement them well and integrate them into the ecosystem within the next year. Lots of plans, so please raise your hands, come forward. The synergy that we now have in the artist committee with the EMA artist brand ambassadors is absolutely, it's positive, it's full of love, it's full of passion. We really, really want to make a difference. We're all vibrating at the same frequency, whether it's me, there's Dhruv Davar, who hasn't been able to join us here. There is Raj Bhanushali. If he's here, please welcome him on the grid. We have Amrita Joshi, who is a new member of the EMA Artists Committee. And of course, we have our EMA Artist Brand Ambassadors. We have Swati Sharma and Arpita Chaudhary. Can we have everybody on the grid, please? I'm going to request Raj to quickly share his thoughts and Amrita to quickly share her thoughts briefly, and then we move ahead and hand the show back to Swati. We don't have Dhruv here for everybody watching. And Swati, can Swati be brought onto this grid, please? If it's possible. If not, then she's anyway with us through the whole show. मैं सच में कह रही हूँ, हमारी जो सिनर्जी है इस वक्त और जो एनर्जी है इन हम सब की, वो इतनी कमाल की है. It is so pure and it is so full of drive, passion कि हम जो हमने सोचा है इस अगले साल के लिए वो हम मिलके करेंगे एंड हम सबको एक साथ लेके चलेंगे. We will create a leader out of everybody. We are not creating members, followers, standbys. No, each one of the members in the artist community will be a leader. So that is the vision and make life better for each artist out there. Raj Bhanushali, a few quick words.
Hello, everyone. So first, I must admit that Geetika keeps us on our toes all the time. There are so many things that we discuss, and she has great plans. Some amazing plans, and I'm really looking forward to working on a lot of them. This session is really very exciting because we are all in the business of influencing and motivating audiences. And the best way to do that is via storytelling in some medium or some form, right? Basically, so we have a great lineup of speakers, and I'm really looking forward to hearing the perspectives and insights, and I'm sure all of you are, looking forward to this session and many more such sessions that are about to come. So well done, Gitika and the entire team, and really looking forward to this. Basically.
Thank you, Raj. Amrita, your thoughts, please.
Hello, everyone. And first of all, I want to say thank you to EMA. Thank you, Kitika, for choosing me for this position. And I'm a star member. बाकी स्टार मेंबर हूँ कई सालों से. तो मैं अपना एक्सपीरियंस एक लाइन में यही बोलूँगी आपके साथ that I have groomed in this.
Amrita, we can't hear you clearly, so I'm going to give you a minute to kind of readjust your sound. Meanwhile, Arpita, please say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Geetika ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. Every time coming back on the screen is an absolute pleasure. And I know you put in so much of hard work in curating this workshop. And not just an artist ambassador, but I'm telling you as an artist that these truly help. They are of great value to all the artists. And those who are watching this right now, I will urge all of you to be part of EMA, to be part of these workshops. We need more artists on hand there's a lot of work to do. So let's just get on board and let's get it started.
Thank you, Arpita. Amrita, are we good to go? I think Amrita is having a bit of an issue with sound. We will get her on a little later. Before I say thank you to all of you for listening, I want to once again remind all the artist members that there was a code of conduct that was released at Imagine by members of the NEC and the president, and the members of the NEC were also on stage, and certain other committee heads. I hope all of you have taken a look at it. I hope all of you have read it, understood it, and will join the movement of implementing it at every single EMA/EMA-led event. The Code of Conduct, it's an EMA initiative for transformation, and it's available on the EMA website. So for all of you artist members, please ye padiyega, please do read it, and keep it handy with you every time you attend an EMA event. Thank you. Swati, we'll have Amrita back on later if you do find the time to allow her to say a few words. And now I hand this back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Geetika. You mentioned about drive and passion that exists in this organization amongst the members. I think it trickles from top to bottom. So I think we have you to thank, and thank you so much for being such a beacon of light for all of us. And since we're here telling stories, I do have a story with Geetika. But okay, long story short, okay, picture this. My very first time at WOW, and I've newly joined the live event anchoring business, and we all know how grand and humongous the WOW Awards stage is. And I'm there watching all my senior anchors go up on stage and just do such a fabulous job. Cut to, I see the strong woman walk towards me because she noticed I was nervous. And she, speaks to me and, gives me some words of encouragement. And the point I'm trying to make is that it just is how empowering it is to have someone like Geetika in your corner. So thank you. Thank you. Well, if we'll move on, invite our next storyteller. She is a talented actor who's contributed to some of the most acclaimed projects in Indian cinema. She's known for her powerful performances in films like Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway and Aligarh. Also, OTT series like Mumbai Diaries, 2611 and The Freelancer. Her work is marked by a striking ability to really embody these complex, memorable characters. And we're so thrilled to have her with us today. Please make some noise for Balaji Gauri. She is here with us today as a leader, sharing some insights and priceless lessons from her journey. But first, how about we see her in action in her previous roles? Let's take a look.
Mr. Chatterjee, I'm slightly concerned. पिछले 2 सालों में आपका वजन बढ़ा है? Weight put on?
जी नहीं.
वजन कम हुआ है?
जी नहीं.
सर दर्द रहता है, घबराहट महसूस होती है, नींद नहीं आती, भूख नहीं लगती.
नहीं ऐसा कुछ.
Miss Sunaina, what's your point?
Actually, Your Honor, according to this...
Ma'am, it's the dyadic biopsychosocial model of marriage.
Exactly. जो husbands ऐसी mad wives के साथ रहते हैं, उनमें सारे symptoms देखे जाते हैं. So, Mr. Chatterjee, देविका के treatment के लिए आप प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल में गए थे या फ्री के गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल में?
नहीं आप समझ नहीं रही है.
सर, 2 सेंसरी टेस्ट हैं. एक स्टैवेंजर नॉर्वे के पब्लिक हॉस्पिटल का और एक एटी अपोलो कोलकाता का. दोनों में बहुत क्लियरली लिखा हुआ है कि देविका चैटर्जी का मानसिक संतुलन 100% सही है. तो दोनों देशों के डॉक्टर्स पागल हैं और आप सही हैं? बताइए मिस्टर चैटर्जी, ऐसी अनस्टेबल लड़की के साथ कैसे गुजारे आपने इतने साल और फैमिली भी शुरू कर दी? ओह, लगता है हमारा संपर्क टूट गया है मिस्टर चैटर्जी के साथ।
Hi, thank you so much for this encouragement right in the beginning. I think when I was watching myself, I was just feeling that, I was reminded of that time when I was doing this scene and I was trying to unfold a story which wasn't mine, which was a true story of someone else. But as I was involved in creating, this particular role, um, there was so much that happened backstage. There was so much that happened while I was, wanting to get that kind of conviction when I was saying these lines. So this was not supposed to be my start, but when I saw this, I just thought that, I must talk about what you saw. So I want to start this session by really thanking all of you. And my prayer and my heart would be that even if one person feels encouraged to be able to tell another story with their heart, this is done. This should be good. So I want to start with gratitude to Geetika, to Swati, to Pooja, to Rahul, and of course to Samit, that this opportunity has been given. I was very wary of this opportunity. So in the beginning, when I was told that this is something that we're planning to do, there was a no, 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 and then I realized that it's an opportunity to understand in my own personal journey of an actor and a writer how I have told stories. So I think one thing is very clear, that words have great power. I'm sure you all understand, and I'm sure that all the things that people have said, there must be some words that must have already gone deep within people's heart. So words have great power. Heart has great power. When the two meet, a good story comes out. This is something that I have seen, experienced, and I think I'm also very excited to be able to go through this journey again and again, get stuck, not know what to do, and then come to a point where I feel happy that I'm able to create. So, I'm going to talk about just two things today. Specifically, two things because I feel that it is important that we are able to take something from a session and quickly apply in our life. I think that that helps in making something your own. So, the first thing that I want to talk about is the aspect of authenticity. So I feel that, in the world that we are living in today, there is so much that is there that we are reading, we are researching, we are asking our chat GPT friend, we are going back to Googling things. But somewhere I feel, and this is just my own, I take ownership of whatever I'm saying because this is just my own personal experience of the past couple of years as to how I have been able to continue. So I feel that, the most important thing for a story has to be how authentic it is, which means, am I able to find myself in the story? So when I say, am I able to find myself in the story, I obviously don't mean that the story has to be about me, but what is about my life? What is about my uniqueness of life, my childhood, my socio-economic circumstances, my cultural background, my memories, my experiences. Is that story containing any of that? I think that personally for me is a very, very important aspect to reflect on. And what's also happening is that because we have this kind of an exposure, somewhere we are undermining our own authenticity. Somewhere we feel that I'm no good. Somewhere we feel maybe this particular these particular experiences of my life, they aren't like, over the top, or they aren't out of the box, and which is why we are unable to use them. So I feel that when we are authentic to our approach, uh, we are able to give a piece of our own heart and our own life to that story. And when we present that story, or when we tell that story to somebody else, because I have been able to see a part of my own life in that story, people who listen to the story, they are able to see themselves. They are able to see, bits and pieces of their own experiences and their own life in that story. And that becomes like a bridge, an invisible bridge between the person who's sharing and the person who's receiving. So what happens with authenticity is that I create an experience. Okay. When I create that experience for my life, that experience starts to flow from my heart and it goes to someone else. So we start to unfold the inner realm of that story. And once that inner realm is explored, I am really able to see what is it that I would like to present. And if authenticity is like so clear, in my text, in my life, in my wanting to tell a story, I have to go back to a tool which is called observation, which is called awareness, which is called um, how aligned I am in this day, moment, time, wherever I may be. I may be sitting in the auto, I may be in my car, I may be doing five other things, but how aligned I am to the reality that I am in, so that I am able to observe what's going on in my life. And most of the times, I feel that uh, sometimes, or most of the times, people feel that मेरे आसपास कुछ बहुत ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग तो हो नहीं रहा है, तो मुझे वो देखने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. So one keeps seeking for that particular thing outside without realizing that the drama is under your nose. The drama is in day to day living. The drama is how people converse with each other. Like most of the times, when I leave home and when I get into an auto, and the first thing to the auto guy is, Kaise ho aap? And a story begins for me. Because he will just tell me, uh, because people are really wanting to talk and wanting to share their own story, he will just start telling me whatever is happening, and through him I get to know about the gaon that he has come from. I get to know about the family that he belongs to. I get to know about those certain unique things that only he can offer. Maybe people who may have probably studied a lot or have gone to major places to have their experiences, sometimes people are not able to tell. And that brings me to the point of this aspect of observation. So when I make a story, when I tell a story, when I create that narrative, the first point for me is, do I see myself? How much of it do I see myself? The second is, I will be able to see myself only when I'm observing, when I'm there. मतलब मैं जिंदगी सर को फोन पे ऐसे नीचे करके देख रही हूँ, और am I really lifting my head up and I am so ready to see what is happening around me? Because when I do that, some very amazing things in the mundane comes out. So I have always believed that ordinary is beautiful. I don't need anything extraordinary, or something that is probably out of my reach to be able to kind of tell a story, or to be able to um so to be able to uh, move with my character. But when there is observation, then one starts to think, one starts to believe in the uniqueness of what they want to share. And that brings me to the next point of, how do I hold my truth? So, Pooja is here, Rahul is here, Amrita is here, Dinesh is here, and Dadi sir is here. Dadi sir has been my teacher. He taught me for a short while in the National School of Drama. And, when I saw his name, I was just so excited, because I said, that's a story unfolding, that the teacher and the disciple is, in the same frame. So, a warm regards to you, Dadi sir. So, what is important really is that do I have the ability to hold my truth? That this is what I believe in. And I'm not saying it out of any kind of an arrogance, but this deep belief that this is my truth. I'm hearing this truth of my life. There is so much of noise around us these days that sometimes we forget what my heart is saying. And I feel that a solid story, not important whether, it will probably be the most successful or will it land very well, but that solid story will be a story where you hold your truth. You are convinced of it. You know that I created it. This is, and maybe nobody is able to see, and probably that's also the beauty of the story that people can't see a part of you in that. But you are able to see that this particular thing, this particular moment, this particular um, incident that I am, feeling that I'm trying to share has come from this aspect of my life. And, so authenticity. What was the second point? Pooja, you're on mute.
Observation and
Observation. Yeah. So authenticity, observation, holding your truth. And the fourth thing that I want to talk about is transformation. So when I tell a story, am I transforming as a human being, as an artist? Because that's in my hands. When a story goes through various stages of people saying, this is not working for me. Why don't you create something else? And I am like, trying to figure, in this aspect of holding my truth and trying to see that what is it that, why is this person not understanding? I think if one can really be aware as an artist that my life transformed from how it started, and after, say, 2 days, 15 days, 3 days, 5 days, I got into the meeting, I was different. I came out of the meeting, I was different. Was I aware? Was I aligned to what's happening in the depths of my own heart? Was I even thinking that because of this, my life is transforming? So I feel the fourth point, personally for me, is very, very important because from that transformation comes joy, comes conviction. Uh, so when I tell my story to somebody, which has happened so many times in my life, that they just feel, what is this? Because obviously it is not sometimes aligned to the trending world. Sometimes it doesn't have the language of Chat GPT, and I'm so okay with it because I really want to hear my voice. I want to know what is it that I want to tell, and I feel that we are living in a world where I am not allowing my own voice to be heard, but I want you to hear my voice. And that for me is a big dichotomy. Like I go, I tell somebody, and internally I'm not feeling joy. I'm not feeling happiness. I'm not feeling conviction. All I am feeling is, how can I get through? Just need to just get through this. ये कैसे भी करके हो जाए. उसमें मेरी लाइफ बदले ना बदले, मेरे मन को क्या लग रहा है. It's not important. But I feel that when we get into any kind of a creative space, are we not first and foremost wanting to transform the heart, my life? And sometimes people may not get what you're saying, they get your heart. They get the joy that you're feeling while you're telling the story. That feeling which is deep within and which is making you so excited and joyful and happy, they just get that. So they may be feeling not very sure, but look at your conviction or your joy, they'll say, yeah, yeah, let's do it. So sometimes that also happens, that the invisible aspect of my heart starts to come in uh, my excitement of the transformation that I have gone through within my own life while I say a story of any kind. And all of you and all the people who have kind of joined, you must have told so many stories, you must have heard so many stories. Um, when we say, when we come back home, और हम अपने घर में किसी से पूछते हैं कैसा रहा दिन, the person is unfolding a story. The moment you say, so how was your day? With do I have time to even listen to that story and let that story kind of get into my life? I am talking of these, big things and have to go and present, but am I able to hear the story of the fellow person who's next to me? Do I have that kind of excitement for something which is very ordinary, very, very ordinary? I think one of the best conversations which has turned for me into a story is, when I speak to my house help, and she just turns around and she'll just give me like, that one line, or that auto guy who is really trying to make it to the city of dreams and has nothing to do with, with probably many other things, but just that mundaneness and that ruggedness of having this deep conviction that I have a story and I have a story to tell. And sometimes, when people are not so interested, I think it is important that you tell your story to your own life. And that's where I feel a wonderful story begins, because ultimately, what is most important is this deep conviction that I carry in the in my life, that my story is worth it. Nobody will come and tell me if I don't believe. I can only believe when I go to an extent which is so authentic to my life. I've not borrowed it for anyone from anyone. I am digging within, deep from my own life, to be able to see what is it that I want to tell. So I feel that, in the past couple of years of writing, of acting, I think this I have been able to kind of explore this aspect, in my work. And uh, uh, I think Pooja had mentioned about my work in Mumbai Diaries. So there's something very interesting that happened. So I do the role of Sister Cherian in Mumbai Diaries, and of course, a script was given to me, and I had to do what I was asked. But I was very clear that of this character, and this is just personally for my own life, of this character, I got to make a story which is mine, so that I am able to see myself in Mrs. Cheriot. So the actor and the writer really, in that sense, helps me to be able to build something which I know that if somebody else builds, they will obviously build it beautifully, because that will be so unique to their own life. And this is something that I have built, so it will have bits and pieces of my own life, my own childhood, my own the energy of perceiving life and all of that. So I remember that I had done like an entire one pager of what I feel that the character should be, and I kept going. Right, like really helped me to be able to take every scene from that perspective, because my background was clear, which was not given to me, which was my homework, which I did on my own. And in that process, there is something that I wrote, which I would like to share with all of you, because Geetika had requested me to, write something. So I just want to share this with you all. So Mumbai Diaries was a series which was, so there are two seasons, and one is on 26/11 and the other is on the Bombay floods that happened. And because I was a part of the hospital, and just this running around and all of that, so I had written this. So I would like to kind of share this. रात की काली चादर में लिपटी वो रात, शहर के आंगन से गुजरती, हर गली मोहल्ले को पार कर अस्पताल के कोने में जा रुकी। दीवार पर लाल छींट और बदन पर आग से सजे जख्म, ये पूछना भूल गए राही का पता क्या है। उस रात कोई पराया नहीं था, हर एक खुद को खोजता, खुद से भागता, मृत्यु का पता मांग रहा था। मैंने अपने आप को संभाल घर की नींव से पूछा, किस ओर जाऊं, कौन सा रास्ता लूं कि जान कल तक की उधार मिल जाए। सड़क पर डर के निशान चमक रहे थे और मन बदहवास उस समय को याद कर रहा था तब समुद्र की ठंडी सांस उम्मीद जगाती थी। उस पल आंखें बस एक साया देखती थी, काल का। और लाल रंग की होली हर खाक की हद को पार कर मेरी आत्मा से हो मेरे शहर को भेदती बेपरवाह हो गई। कोई आ जाओ, इस खेल को खत्म कर दो, इससे पहले कि नियम बदल जाएं, इससे पहले कि जमीन समझ जाए, इससे पहले कि हवा रूठ जाए। कोई आ जाओ। So this was Cherian, uh, maybe standing in one corner and seeing the, you know, the bloodshed that happened at that point of time, is saying this. And when I wrote it, I never thought this is the first time I'm actually reciting it, and I never thought that this particular piece will ever have an audience. And I'm just so grateful that all of you now have become a part of this particular story that I wrote, like this particular piece that I wrote a couple of years back. Like it's kind of flown from me to you. So I think my time is up. I've not been able to keep a check on my time. Uh, so Geetika is asking me to tell an experience about Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway. So I want to really thank the producers, Nikhil Advani, who was the reason why I was in the film, and of course the conversation has to start with the congratulations to Rani Mukherjee. She just won an award for the 71st National Award for this film. So, Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway was very interesting. It was the last 5 days of the film that I was a part of. And it was a tough, difficult shoot because they had done most of the work and just this last bit was left. And I'm in the last half an hour of the film, if some of you have seen the film. It's a good film, so if you can, please watch it. Um, and just that experience of wanting to kind of know what is it that this character brings, what is the person who's right in front of you, and kind of doing all like kind of going through those very strong uh, emotional journey that the mother went through. So I felt that constantly there was a subtext story that was going within me of the person who was in front of me, and of course of the lawyer that I was playing, of everybody around. And what I also realize now is that the story that you have within surprisingly starts to connect to everybody if your truth is in place. So it may not be it may not be that I have to, if me and Pooja or me and Rahul, I'm taking both your names because I can see you and you're really encouraging me by nodding by nodding your necks and so if I may not know what, Rahul has in his heart and Pooja has in her heart, but if their story and their truths are so one with them, it will just come to the third person who is there. And that's where, um, the magic happens. The magic which is which I'm not prepared for. The magic which I don't want to even predict. So I think I am almost on the last bit of my session, and maybe now it is safe for me to say this, that I had not. I was. I wasn't very ready to prepare for this because I felt I want to see what's going to happen there. So I just written like one or two things and I said, I will just go with it and see how, what is it that I'm getting? What is it that people are talking about? And if I'm aligned, then it is all going to move in that direction. And I think I'm feeling that it moved in the right direction because I'm not nervous now. I felt great joy in doing it, and I would love to come back and meet you all and maybe some offline coffee conversation. It will be wonderful, and I really want to thank Geetika, who um, I've known her for some years, and I think there is an untold story between the two of us. We connect and we connect in these lines of the universe, which is beautiful. It's pure, it's genuine. She looks out for my life. And maybe that's how, good stories are told, when people look out for each other. And I really want to thank Samit, who also happens to me a very dear friend. And I also want to say this to all of you, that he is one of those people who has pushed me to write new stories with absolutely different background. He's just like thrown me into the well and say, now figure it out. So thank you, Samit, for not knowing what I have to tell, but believing in my heart of just telling it with love and with passion. So thank you so much, everyone. Swati, thank you for following up and pushing me, and so grateful. Thank you so much.
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you, Gauri, for having said yes finally to this, considering that you didn't want to do this in the first place. But thank you for coming on board and for sharing all those valuable insights. I've made notes, um, being authentic, being very observant, and being aware of not just the world around us, but also what's going deep within us. Right. Well, we're back. Thank you so much, Gauri. Like I was saying, it is time now to invite another fascinating storyteller. And speaking of stories, yet another story. The day is 15th September 1951, Pune. Tab Pune. Full moon ka din hai. This is the day where someone super special was born, who would grow up to become the master storyteller as a puppeteer. What started as a mere hobby because his cousin got him some puppets as gifts from London paved the way for him to become the most renowned name in the magical world of puppetry. Also, have you seen that movie Heather? I mean, if you love stories, then Heather, I mean, come on, that's a movie that you must watch if, in case you haven't. Also, एक गाना है, Bismil, 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 Bismil. Go watch it if you haven't. Now, what if I told you that our next guest is that legend who made this song unforgettable? I mean, of course, the movie was in itself unforgettable because of the legendary storyteller Vishal Bharadwaj, but what etched this particular song in our memories is the visuals of the song. And the credit goes to none other than the iconic Dari Padamji. He's a founder of Ishara Puppet Theatre Trust. He's an internationally acclaimed Indian puppeteer, director, and festival curator. He is recognized as a key figure in modern Indian puppetry, blending traditional techniques with contemporary themes. Of course, Padamji's contributions to the field have earned him prestigious honors, including one of the highest recognitions, the Padma Shri and the Sangeet Natak Academy Award. He is also served as the president of the Union Internationale della Marionette, that is UNIMA, the International Puppetry Organization. So delighted to have him with us. But before we get to hear from him, let's bear witness to the magic that he has been creating.
Yep. Hi, everyone. First, I'm overwhelmed, Gauri, to see you because when you started, at the age I am, I've started forgetting names, but I remember faces. And when I saw this, I said, my God, I know this person. I'm sure NSD. Then I went to, Wikipedia, yay, whoa, to see your bio. I was searching for it, and then you mentioned. So great to see you. And thank you to EEMA for having me here. Uh, as I said, I normally prefer a sort of a talk thing, and I haven't, as Gauri said as well, I don't like to prepare. I like to ramble a bit. You can stop me somewhere, and I'm always prefer an MC to ask questions. But uh, I like to demystify some of the work I do. It sounds great. Thank you, Pooja, for making this slightly over the top introduction. But we all do what we are supposed to do. At least that's for me. Some of us come, right place, right time, and we carry on. Some of us struggle. But I think each of us takes a lead in and a liking to what we come with and what we need to give. The little clip that you saw, Ishara, the puppet theater that I run now in Delhi, it's been, almost more than 20 years, 22 years. We also run an international puppet festival, which brings storytellers from all over the world to Delhi and to other cities. But at the core of it, at Ishara, is what I learned from my teacher. And what is very interesting, what Gaudi said, teacher, and some years ago, it was in IGNC, the old IGNC, and we were setting up this huge exhibition on masks. And Dr. Kapilavatsan had also got my teacher from Stockholm to put some things up. And me and my designer were trying to see where to put his stuff. And it didn't fit anywhere. And we'd put it in some place. And he got very upset, the teacher. So I spoke to Dr. Vatsa and I said, Meshke is very upset that we put he said, look, he was your teacher, you were the student, but there is a time that comes when the student and the teacher have to break them, for a connection. And then you have to take the lead. It's not that every time, you have to be under the thumb. And this is interesting because all through my life, from Ahmedabad, Pune, Pune then, and NID, and Darpana Academy, ISRO, there come people who in your life who also instruct and help you. And it's very important to acknowledge these people. Very often, most of our work at Ishara, I would say for anybody, a lot of it is group. People are working with you, and of course you're directing, but at the end of the day, there's a whole lot of people coming up on that pyramid, and it's very important to acknowledge them. And that has helped me, and that is what I hope I do with all the young people I work with in our Ishara. Okay, coming back to the Ishara idea, the name came about ages ago in a workshop in Kasauli. Vivan Sundaram is a place, a theater workshop with Anuradha Kapoor and people who had directed it. And there was Gitanjali Shri, the writer. She has a huge book on her name. And I said, look, we're looking for a name, and that's how Ishara came, a gesture, a direction, whatever. Ishara works. I don't know what the word is, because when you say puppet theater, you sometimes, box things in, and people start thinking of little cute characters. Or in North India, you would only think of Radhisthani Katputli on strings. But there's much more all over India. The traditional narratives, the traditional generational puppeteers, there are modern puppeteers in contemporary or in urban places. At Ishara, the style has come as using puppets as a means to tell a story, not as an ends to tell a story. That is, puppet is the focus. It's not just puppet, but with puppet, dance, music, theater, masks. The dance and movement came in many, many years ago with a collaboration with the late Asta Debu, the modern dancer. After that, we worked with different themes. when we make a story, everybody says, who is it for? You're making a performance. What is it? Who is it for? Like what you saw just now, you saw a trailer, but on Rumi, I'll come to that. But is it for children, the first question, or is it for adults or something? And I say that I hope that it is interesting for a family audience. I hope some are more for younger audiences and youth, some are more, for grown-ups. And that is where the word, the terminology puppet, in English at least, puppet, sometimes sort of gives a stop because you just think of Muppets or small characters. And as you saw in this performance on Rumi, maybe there's only one or two puppet characters in it, but then there are actors, there are dancers, there are movers to tell a story. And it's based on a poem from the Masnavi, but of course an English transliteration, Who is at My Door? And with actually three people from the alumni NID in Ahmedabad. One was Shahz Ahmad, who did the backdrops, the animation, and helped in the scripting of the story. The synopsis I have, I'm not the best writer, and he put it together. And of course, the main thing in all my productions is sound, is music. And that music gives the idea of what the actors or the puppets or people have to do. At times, some of it seems abstract, some of it's visual theater. I don't know what you want to call it, plastic theater, total theater, visual theater maybe. The other day, somebody asked me, what would you call it? It's not puppet theater, it's not theater, it's not this. And we've come into a phase where dance is this, music is this, theater is this. And if you go back to all our traditional forms, it always had all these elements in them: music, dance, narration, sutradhar, all of them. And that's how I think I try to use my work. For I don't know, storyteller. All of us are storytellers. I mean, I was just laughing and I was put a comment tongue cheek. There was a whole story going on before we all started when the tests of this EEMA thing was going on, and between the EEMA people and themselves. There was a small story happening, and there was subtext in that story, which you could just imagine, maybe not true, but it must be by the sound or the way people were saying things. So everyone comes with a story. If it's that we're talking about puppet theater, a puppet can be made in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and it'll break the next 15 minutes, but it has to communicate. It's not made for yourself. It's talking to an audience. It's speaking through you of what you have to the people in front, to the screen. I obviously prefer to have it live whenever it is. In fact, I was asking EEMA, well, can I see the people who we are speaking to? And they said, no, that's difficult. It's always interesting because in the live theater, things keep moving according to the emotions that you get back as well. Coming back to story, the story is everything, or the narrative is everything. It can be something for 2-3 minutes, but if it has to touch people. It is very interesting when Gauri spoke about the film, Mrs. Chatterjee. And I have a niece living in Vancouver, and she said, I've seen this film, and it's very real. She's been there for 13, 14 years now, maybe more, with her family. And when she saw this, she said there are both two sides to the story. Both sides are very true, but it absolutely touched her. And it's interesting. I'm going to tell her that it's done by Gauri. Coming back to making a performance, for me, it's storytelling, but it's visual storytelling. Okay, there's a film, there's a poem, there's dance. All of these are mediums. The madhyam, as we call it, even the puppet is a medium. There's nothing more than it, and it can be learned. It can be, elaborated. It can move beautifully. It can touch you. The puppet touches possibly the human being or the audience, because we call it, in a way, it's a sort of objective theater. It reflects life, but it's not real. Okay, a human actor on stage and is flesh and blood, and a human, and the audience is flesh and blood. So there is a subjectivity in that. But due to this objective nature, the puppet sometimes comes out stronger. That's what we believe. Actor may not, but when there's a synergy of dance, music, actors together, something magic is, created. The object, I'm saying object, but it can be a piece of cloth, it can be a full narrative, sort of realistic figure, has to communicate. And how does it communicate? It communicates with movement. Here there's a piece of, just a piece of cloth, and there are 2 rubber bands that I put on my fingers. 1 and 2 and 3. There is nothing more than, if you can see this, I have to try and focus it. Oh, where is it? Yeah. It's just 3 rubber bands, a piece of cloth, but the way it moves, or the way it, there's a time lapse here, so I can, the way it moves gives you an idea whether it's a human being or whether it's something on 4 legs, things like that. So the simplest of material tells a story, communicates. In my work, I always say that I'm taking 2 steps towards the audience, and the audience is taking 2 steps towards me, or that middle, that story, and that's when the thing comes alive. Very often we just make things and we think that it's getting through, but maybe it's not. And it's not that you have to do what the audience or the public likes, but they come with something in their head and you are putting something. And if there is a connection, I think it works. Though at times you will also project what you want to say. As I felt a little uncomfortable in your EEMA, your intro video, there was one shot there of a Dushum, and I said, why is this there? I also have a beard. I can see Rahul, he has a beard, and you're sort of typecasting things there. And this is the new Bharat, it said. So, but that's up to us, without any hurt to anybody. But that also tells a narrative, okay, how you deal with things. So it's very, very important in these times, in all times, to see how you tell stories, what you want to put through your story. Right now, we are working on a very challenging theme. We do a large performance like Rumi, and then we did something which was called Be Yourself. Be Yourself was for school kids, and it was a takeoff on the Ugly Duckling, but all the animals, characters were made from Indian textiles from different regions. So there were 2 things here. We were talking about where the material comes from, where that animal comes from, and then Be Yourself is that you don't fit in, so you're not our friend, and each of the animal tries to make a hybrid animal, and in the end the little duck is fed up and throws out all these colors that are given to them and says, and flies. So we took a theme, and then there was an idea. Pooja spoke about the song from Haider. That's very interesting how it came about, because those puppets were actually made for a performance called Heer Ke Waris, which was based on the story of Heer Ranja. Heer Ranja is a fantastic, beautiful love story, and you will get Bulle Shah, you will get 18th century text. It was in classical Punjabi. We got it into Hindi by Mahip Singh, music by Harpreet. And I said, what is the idea of just showing that story today with puppets? And there has to be a connection to some things that are happening. And we found that whatever is in here, about land, about families, about honor killing, is already happening. Yeah, I mean, 10 kilometers outside Delhi, you will find things like that. So our 2 actors who are the narrators, a girl and a boy on a bicycle, are coming to a dargah to tie a string. And there is a Darvesh sitting next door. He said, Kya kar rahe ho? So he said, Baba, hame aashirwad do, give us a blessings. true love. And he says true love, but what is true love? Even he, Ranja, had this and it never happened. And then he starts narrating and they ask, who is he, Ranja? And the archetypes, the puppets are come in with music. And the today's he or today's Ranja picks up the figure and becomes the voice of that character and then comes back into today. This I like playing with in my work, in my storytelling, because when you're adapting and at present, whether I should say it, we are about to soon, by the end of the year, hopefully, it's about Amrita Shergill, the famous woman artist who lived only 28 years, 1913 to 1941 in undivided India and Paris in France, and led one of the most uninhibited lives. And how are we going? And there are a lot written about her biographies. There are, volumes. It's a living person still, and there is photographs. Father, Umrao Singh, Majitya clan marries a Hungarian lady who comes, Princess Bamba, Ranjit Singh, all this come in. Now, we're wondering, what are we saying? Everything is there in books if they want to see. There's going to soon be a film as well. So how do we push this, or how do we talk about her? A, B, how do I, even in present days, talk about what she did and how she lived? She lived a very independent, very her life. She had many affairs. She was possibly bisexual. She had many abortions. She married her cousin and still had affairs. There's a lot there. Now, am I going to be able to say all this in a present day fancy school in Delhi? No, it's not easy. Even I must say that loud, that even showing in an art school, maybe yes, but showing a frontal nude painting is going to be a problem in the school. Now, how do I create a visual story with puppets, with actors to tell Amrita Shergill's life? This is going on. And once again, we come to the idea of, as Gauri also said, of what we ourselves are feeling, what we are going through, asking or talking about her, and the feedback we are getting, we are putting that as these 5 students who are in search of Amrita Shergill, and the archetype, the puppet, talks to them and says, you are going to make a story about me. It's not that easy. Everything's been written. Some of the things are real, some of it's gossip. Now you make your own narrative. You make your own story and think about it and how you make it and what you're going to say. Because once you make something, that for future generations also becomes the be all and end all. That becomes, for a researcher, this is it, this is it. So you have to be very careful as to what to say. There are many things there that I know for a fact I cannot say in the situation we have here, political, social, educational, whatever. But it happened actually by a woman who lived only 28 years, who wrote the most interesting, focused letters. There are about 300 letters, and in Hungarian, English, French, which have been translated into English, and we're going through them, and you cannot imagine this person. Anyway, that's about the next production. We again are going to use 3 or 4 human actors, as I say, because we work with the puppets and sort of realistic puppets, which will look, normally most of us are slightly stylized, as you saw in Haider as well, or in real finishes, bronze or gold, or sort of, and see who is more powerful on stage at that point. And these actors will be the main characters or the proletariat's friends. They will travel with her or the puppet to France, to Lahore, to Shimla, wherever she went, and with her family. And they are part of her. They keep questioning maybe Amrita as to why did you write this, or what was the reason, what was in your head. Now, what can we say? We can only read the letters or the notes, and then there is this in-between gray area which we have to put in. And that's how the story forms for us. So a lot of it comes through experience, as Gauri says, much of it, a lot of it through observation, a lot of sensitivity, because for my own work, came to Delhi in 1980, and I know that for a fact that what I could say or do in 1980s earlier, some of it I cannot do today, for whatever reason. So it's that sensitivity has to be there. Appropriation of color is happening. So everywhere you're sort of thinking, how do you do it? And some people say, you must not think about this. You just go ahead and do what you want to and then face it. I don't know. This is something that each time you take a step and it happens. Now, about coming back to narrative, to story, the way I prefer to work is because of this mixing of material, puppets, actors, music. Music is very important. We don't try to using too much of text, of words, that becomes a little banal for the type of puppets we use. So it's the actors who are the main voice. And when the puppet starts speaking, or the object starts speaking in human voice or in human length of text, it can sometimes become sort of boring in the sense. And what the human actor can do, the puppet cannot do. And what the puppet can do, or the visual part that happens, the human actor cannot do. And if I can make a good combination or a presentation or something, yes. The fear always is that some things work, it's going to work. And you go back to those sort of things when you're making a story. And so then, is that right or is that wrong? Meshke, my teacher in Stockholm, said you have to start with a clear slate, zero, and then start. And that's very difficult. I've always thought that you're relying on experience, you're relying on things you see or what you're confronted with. So how can you always come with a total blank screen and then start with? And in our work, there's a lot of technology also involved, joints, materials, what can we use, budgets, what can you work behind, the scene, all that has to be put together. So there are a lot of things. You're not working on your own, you're working in a team, and as long as you can keep a team together, that's very important. I would like some of you to ask something. It's much easier for me to, go onto something. If you have a question or some observation, please go ahead and ask. And it's much easier for me to reply to that than instead of just talking. Yeah. You all were asking me to do a video, a promo video, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm seeing all your promo videos and everyone is so animated and blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm not the person, I can't do this, And that's why yesterday in the evening I told Swati, you'll have to excuse me, I'm not in this mode. Most of our thing, even though we are behind the puppet or behind the screen, you're seeing us, but it's these things that are projecting our ideas. The idea, the object in front of you, the movement, most of it right now is physical, it's not animatronics, and that is what is connecting to the audience to tell the story. But with that, the sound, every small movement, whether it's the human being or the puppet figure, gives an emotion to the audience, to the general public, which they relate to, which then makes the story. Very often, images of truth, Satya ki Pratiroop, ages ago on Mahatma Gandhi, wordless, without text performance to world music. And people would say, Iska matlab kya hai? What did it mean? And I said, what did you feel? And they say exactly what we wanted to, speak about. It was very interesting. That performance has traveled all over the world. And some years ago, it went to Iran, of all places, in a festival. I said, take Heer Ranjha, because you have a very close Laila Majnu, these love stories. They said, no, we want this performance. I said, but there is some history to it. There's a feedback. There is for flash forward in the show. There are no texts. They said, never mind. We still want it. And it was very interesting. Whatever we wanted to say through that performance got through to the audience, both kids as well as grown-ups. And then suddenly a fellow comes at the end and gives me this huge book with all Gandhi's quotations in Farsi. I said, how come? Where is this from? He says, no, we have one class in junior school on him. So that is why I think the festival selected this show. It was very abstract. It was very color, white, black, beige. There was not much thing. But anyway, we're happy that what we wanted to say got through. Please ask a question. I'd be grateful.
Dadi sir.
Yeah.
So let's say the puppets are on stage, and I've seen the promos of your shows, and there are human actors who are handling the puppets, and they're visible. They're completely visible to the audience as well. And I mean, does that not create a sort of sense of, that, hey, I can see the person also handling the puppet? Because usually what we've seen in the past is that the person, the artist handling the puppet is usually not visible.
I'm glad you asked that question, because in conventional or most traditional puppet theaters, the puppeteer is not seen. But what's very interesting is in all the glove puppet traditions of India, whether it's in Odisha, Bengal, in Kerala, the puppeteer is sitting with the puppets, including in UP, Gulabu Sitabu. The puppeteer is playing with the puppet, and he or she is also enacting a role with these puppets. So it has been there. It has not been exploited much, but today the trend has become using. I remember I came 1980 to set up this first modern puppet repertory, Shriram Center for Art and Culture. So the first time puppeteers were behind the puppet, okay, but we were wearing black and the background was black. So we were sort of merged. Now we try to be, but we are also playing characters. So I can't be red and pink or something weird, but we have to design it in such a way. The other thing is the focus of these three people working one puppet. Okay, and that technique comes basically from Japan, Bunraku theater, where three artists, three human beings work a puppet in full view of the audience. The concentration and the movement has to be so, I wouldn't say perfect, but has to be so trained or so rehearsed that the audience's focus goes to that. Psychologically also, subjective and objective theater, as I said, if I'm the puppeteer and I'm working the puppet, I am focused and watching the puppet. As soon as my eyes go to the audience will look into my eyes. So these are all ABCDs, I mean, about the technique. And I try to use it more and more, where sometimes the puppeteer is just a puppet and has to be very deadpan. Sometimes the puppeteer is enacting something. Sometimes it's asking its own puppet, which is the soul, a question, and when the puppet dies, maybe the puppet is just left as an object, inanimate object, and the puppeteer moves away. So the actual part of the puppet is gone. So these are things you play with. I mean, it's also conventional now. The many things, the new things that are happening. Yeah.
Right. And it's absolutely so fascinating to see there are three actors, three artists who are handling one larger than life puppet. It's just mesmerizing. We have another question, Dari sir, a fellow EEMA artist. She says, her name is Sumati. Sumati asks, if somebody as an artist wants to start with ventriloquism, how do we go about it from scratch?
About ventriloquism, yeah?
Yes.
Well, ventriloquism, the ventriloquist uses what you might call a puppet or a figure. And this whole thing about throwing your voice and all is not there. It's a training where, if you notice carefully, when the ventriloquist is perfect manipulation, there's an alienation between the puppet and the ventriloquist. his mouth is slightly open, and he uses his or her vocal cords from here. So an A or a B is not pronounced A or B. It's another sound which then you think is A or B. And it's a training. I mean, you can learn ventriloquism, and there are people all over the world who do it. The break of the human being from the puppet has to be very well made. I know there's an American, Shari Lewis. She's passed away. She just had a sock with two eyes on it, and it was called Lamb Chops. And she did musicals. She's online. You can see Shari Lewis, and a huge stage where she's performing with this little mouth made from socks, you know, what you wear, and catches the audience. It's a show, but it's very well done. It seems very easy, but even a 40, 50-minute little performance like Rupiana or whatever takes ages to start rehearsing. You work with a team, and that team then keeps coming back, and yeah, it starts. Because when you work with someone fresh, yes, again, there is a training, there is a way of working. The older ones will get fed up working with a new person because it takes time, but that's how it is.
All right. Well, also, Dali sir, speaking of when land became water, that is another pretty
That's
larger than
an
life.
interesting piece. It was one of the first, after a long time, somebody commissioned a piece. It was, I think it was 2014, I can't remember, before the pandemic. The NCPA was, Bombay was celebrating its 50th anniversary. And Neeta Premchand, a lady who in Bombay works with handmade paper. She's called the Bombay Papery. She's got a shop. It's like the matching center of handmade paper. And she worked with handmade paper artists in Daulatapad who actually made the most fine paper for Mughal miniatures during that period. Today, they have to use BT cotton and all, and it makes drops, so it's a problem. But she illustrated 3 children's books on the Great Flood. One is, of course, Noah, we all know, Gilgamesh, looking for immortality, and the story of Manu and the fish. She illustrated these books with crushed handmade paper, which were block printed. So NCPA came and said, we want to put this, make a performance, but we want to do it with a live symphony orchestra. So technology came in. The composer was living in Canada, you know, the timeline is totally different between Delhi and here. We are in the studio here, and we are making these moves, synopsis first. How do we tell 3 stories which up to getting into the boat are different, but after that they all get into the boat and there's a flood, and you know, how do we put them together? So again, a visual theater, one actor plays the 3 characters, Noah, Gilgamesh, Manu, and then there was projection, and that projection had to take from Neeta Premchand's crushed handmade paper and block printing. So if you see at the back, it's not the best video, but you will see the design. It's not created. It's actual, of course, created in animation. Then I'm listening to music. It's being composed. This works, this doesn't work. The fantastic composer, Ira Tishmarutov in Canada, he comes for the show, and then we rehearse here, and then suddenly we come to Mumbai to do the show, and one day before we hear the whole orchestra playing the same track, which is sounding totally different. But the synergy between the conductor, the musicians, and the puppeteers just worked, and that's how that show, it's traveled a lot when land became water. Yeah, there's a clip of it.
I saw the video when it was shared. I've seen it some 3-4 times already, and I think it's time now to sort of for our guests also to really witness what we're talking about.
It speaks about human beings, about redemption. It speaks about how we create our world, but we are the same ones who are destroying our own world. That's what's today. And then this God sends down this flood to, you know, finish all this. And then there are these few, which is a bit of a sensitive issue for me, a few privileged people who get into the boat, and then they carry on life after that, and then it's regenerated in the end. But the last text of which was put in, I remember I put it in with Neeta, which it says how long will we carry on this cacophony of people until the floods waters rise again? And you're seeing flood waters rise again everywhere today. You're seeing wars and bombs everywhere. Yeah, it's a very topical performance. Yeah.
Yes, but can't wait to show this audio visual that we have, a little snippet from the show to our guests out here. So I think, Dari sir, with your permission, can we see the video now? Yes?
Thank you. Yeah. Yep.
Amazing.
I studied my puppetry was a hobby, but the design work comes in from National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad, and then Darpana Academy of Performing Arts, which gave me a lot of other inputs. So that all that put together, I think helps. Which we need a base. You know, we can't just create things from anywhere.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Dari sir. I think it's time now to play the audio visual that we have from that fascinating show, When the Land Became Water. Let's play that, please. Well, we're gonna interrupt the video right here because we're running short of time. But please go watch this video. It's available on YouTube, and trust me, it's pretty mind blowing when you watch it. Yes. All right. We'll move on now. Well, Amrita J, who's our EEMA artist member, it's time now to hear from her since she was interrupted earlier as well. So Amrita, it's over to you, and welcome back.
Thank you. And first of all, I want to say thank you to Dadi sir, Gori ma'am. Such an insightful session. And it's remind me incredible value of EEMA. As an artist member, I can say that EEMA is just not a membership platform, but this platform has groomed me holistically. It has transformed personally, professionally, for your skill enhancement and networking. And now I'm a part of a EEMA member, EEMA artist committee member, and I'm very excited for this new journey. बहुत सारे इनिशिएटिव आ रहे हैं, मैं यही कहूंगी आपके लिए, बहुत ही एक्साइटिंग इनिशिएटिव हैं. So please enjoy this, experience this, and all the star member, all the artists, अपने आप को groom करने का मौका नहीं छोड़ना, and just be grateful for this opportunity and enjoy this journey of EEMA artist member.
Thank you so much, Amrita. And of course, thank you, Dari sir, for taking us into the magical world of puppetry. Also showing us that this unique form of puppetry is not only meant for entertainment, but also it sheds light on the critical issues that are facing our world. So thank you for sharing that with us. And well, on that note, it's time to dive in deeper into how sometimes even the most bland stories, but in the hand of a competent storyteller, can move mountains, right? Well, for that, I would like to hand over the steering wheel of this session once again to our EEMA artist ambassador, Swati Sharma Singh. Swati, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Pooja. Thanks to our very charming and our very creative host. You have seen her in ads featuring with stars like Akshay Kumar, and thank you for taking out the time and being part of the team for this session. And really enjoying the creativity you're bringing to the table, and the Bismil dance also very entertaining. Let's dive into the panel, everybody. I'm really excited to share with you our panelists. The first person that I'm about to invite, he is my personal favorite co-host. I have firsthand seen the magical effect he has on the audience. His story, it starts in Kolkata. Since till adulthood, he did not have any stage exposure, but he was always the entertainer of the friends group, all the family group. And his first break came from a family event itself, where he was asked to anchor. And from there on, people kept calling him, and initially he could only do shows along with his job. So one life-changing event happened at his job. So he had already missed a couple of working days, because now he was getting shows even beyond weekends. His boss calls him inside, and he was from Haryana. So he says in his strict tone, "Kalaini thum," because he had missed work day yesterday. And something took over uh, our artist, and he said, "Sir, kal show tha." It was a show day yesterday. It is normally not what he would share with his boss, but he didn't know what had gotten into him, and gave him that courage. And so the boss asked, "So you have to decide between the job or the shows." And at that moment, it just came out of him, and he said, "Bhaiji, shows karne hai." And from then on, there was no looking back. An adventure had started. He became one of the most sought after anchors in Kolkata. Not just that, today he is everywhere, whether it is TV ads, whether it is the biggest of stages. He got his breaks during Comedy Ka Badshah and Comedy Circus. Then he got more and more recognized through his TV ads. And then he became a household name through Balika Vadhu and these other serials that he acted in. Let's show you how this adventure really went visually in this audio visual that is dedicated to his amazing work. Please play the audio visual for Dinesh Soni. Let me hear it for the celebration architect, Dinesh Soni in the house.
Oh my God. स्वाति, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि वर्षों पहले राहुल के घर में सुनाई हुई वो स्टोरी आज सही जगह यूज हो गई। आई थिंक आई थिंक ये बिल्कुल कुछ लॉकडाउन के भी पहले की बात है, आई थिंक।
That's right, Dinesh. आपकी इस बात से मुझे I remembered something. कहते हैं ना, उम्र लंबी हो जाती है जिसका नाम लेते हैं, और वो आ जाए तो, right? So I think today it's time for Rahul to add few years to his age. Everybody, it's time to introduce to you our next panelist. His story starts just like his hero, and his hero is the Badshah of Bollywood, Shah Rukh Khan. He always wanted to meet him as a child. He didn't really know how, but yes, destiny knew exactly how to lead him to his dream. He, the Delhi boy, born and brought up here, doing his education, eating murthal ke parathe. And from there he also had this passion for art. He was very good at drawing. He drew for his friendship cards for his friends, and even when the dust collected on the alto his family owned, he used to scribble on that. He used to create images out of that. That's how much the creative force was inside him. From then on, he went ahead. He pursued engineering because he came from a government official's background kind of family. So, engineering degree aside, he kept his artist alive. And we are so thankful for that because he became one of the most celebrated sand artists that we know, coming from India and internationally acclaimed. It's time now to see the highlights of the rise and rise of Rahul Arya. Please cue the audio visual.
Hey, are you tired of boring presentations? Why settle for regular slides when your story can leave everyone amazed? A picture speaks louder than words. Picture this, a quiet stage, and as sand flows through skilled hands, your company's story comes alive with a dedicated VO, beautifully crafted in real time. This is what Rahul Arya, India's first master sand artist, brings to the table. With mesmerizing performances on stages like India's Got Talent, AFA Awards, IPL, Filmfare Awards, Sony TV, Colors TV, Rahul has wowed audiences with storytelling skills on international stages as well.
Thank you very much, Rahul. यार बहुत खूबसूरत है वो. So I get very emotional.
He turns normal ideas into unforgettable visuals, which leaves a lasting impression on your audiences. Whether it's a product launch, a great celebration, or your company's journey from start, or it could be the emotional retirement. A personalized sand art adds a unique, emotional touch that stays with your audience they'll remember forever.
Absolutely. We have the IIT Mumbai alumni. Welcome, Rahul Arya.
Thank you so much, EEMA, and thank you so much, Swati and Dinesh Bhai. I still remember all the conversation which we have had, and you both being my senior, you all have been always a great support, especially Dinesh Bhai. I have learned a lot from you. Not saying that क्योंकि हम लोग same panel पे, but because the energy which you
अरे
bring in on the stage is amazing, and it is very infectious. Whenever I am sharing a stage with you, I somewhere steal some energy from your side.
क्या बात है,
Virtual
फीलिंग्स आर
group
म्यूचुअल
hug
भाई.
to everyone. Yes, virtual group hug to everyone. We all love each other. And it's amazing that we are all together on this session. I want to dive right in. Listen, my pen and paper is ready. Please, both of you, tell me the first question that is open to both of the experts. What is the framework? How do we create an interesting story? Dinesh, since you are senior, would you like to take that first?
वाइट दाढ़ी के कारण सीनियर, चलो ठीक है. तो कहानी कहानी मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कहानी का जो भी फ्रेमवर्क होता है, इवन जो शुरुआत है वो हमारी मम्मी दादी इन्होंने शुरू की थी. कहानी आज भी जब कही जाती है तो दादी नानी की कहानियां होती है, मतलब वहां से शुरू हुई. और एक बच्चे को खाना खिलाने के लिए और अपनी बात मनवाने के लिए और सुलाने के लिए मम्मियों ने, दादियों ने, नानियों ने जितनी कहानी कही है, वहीं से शुरुआत हुई है इस चीजों की. और कहानी का फ्रेमवर्क हमेशा ही जो फिल्मी कहानियों का भी होता है, एक कहानी की शुरुआत होती है, मध्य होता है और एंड होता है. और जो नायक है उसकी लाइफ में जितने कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स आते हैं, उतनी ज्यादा कहानी इंटरेस्टिंग होती है. शुरुआत प्लेन होती है, कैरेक्टर इंट्रोडक्शन होता है, मेन प्रोटेगोनिस्ट जो है उसकी लाइफ में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट आते हैं और वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट बढ़ते हैं और फिर वो सॉल्यूशन की ओर जाता है. वहां एक एंड हो जाता है कि अब कोई सॉल्यूशन बचा ही नहीं है, इसकी लाइफ खत्म हो गई. देन एक सॉल्यूशन आता है और वो उस पर काम करने के लिए जी जान से लग जाता है एंड देन उसको सक्सेस मिलती है. दिस इज द प्लॉट ऑफ स्टोरी. इसमें किसी भी बात को लियो. और मुझे लगता है कहानियों के मामले में तो बचपन में हम एक मारवाड़ी परिवारों में एक झिंडिया की कहानी सुना करते थे. तो वो कहते थे झिंडिया झिंडिया कठे चाल्यो. मतलब एक बच्चा है जो अपनी नानी के घर जा रहा है, तो वो उसको बीच में कई जानवर मिलते थे तो वो सब चाहते थे कि इस बच्चे को खा जाऊं। तो वो हमेशा उससे कहता था कि नानी के जाऊंगा, मोटा होके आऊंगा, उसके बाद में खा लेना, नहीं नानी के जाऊंगा, हलवा पूड़ी खाऊंगा, मोटा होके आऊंगा, उसके बाद खा लेना, कि अभी तो मेरे में मांस कम है। और ये कहानी वहां से नानी के यहाँ जाके आता है, नानी के यहाँ जाता है तो भी मोटा नहीं होता है। तो नानी पूछती है तुम मोटे क्यों नहीं हो रहे हो? तो नानी को बताता है ये सब कहानी है। तो आते समय नानी उसे मतलब ये पूरी स्टोरी है। और इस कहानी में ये मेरे ख्याल से जीवन की पहली कहानी है जो हमने सुनी थी। और इसमें कॉन्फ्लिक्ट थे, इसमें सस्पेंस था कि वो झिंडिया वापस आ पाएगा कि नहीं आ पाएगा। और लास्ट में जितने जानवर उससे मिलते हैं उन सब से वो निकल जाता है, लेकिन कौवा जो है वो उसे देख लेता है, और कौवा उस टब को जिसमें वो बैठ के आ रहा था उसे चोंच मार के तोड़ देता है। यहाँ कहानी का एकदम एक्सट्रीम पॉइंट आ गया कि अब तो ये खा ही जाएगा। और वो उस समय आता है जब उसका गांव एकदम पास में आ जाता है। तो तुरंत वो जोर जोर से चिल्ला के अपने गांव वालों को बुलाता है, और गांव वाले आके कौवे को भगा देते हैं। और वो सिंपल लाइफ में
I
फ्रेमवर्क
think it's
की
very
कोई
easy
जरूरत
to
नहीं।
get lost in the words of Dinesh Soni, and you could just want him to go on and on. It's time to put the same question to our other expert. Rahul, you have been very passionate about storytelling yourself. I remember even when you call friends to your home, you ask them to tell their stories. That's how integral it is to you. So, what's your take on what can be a framework for an interesting story?
तो सबसे पहले तो मैं जिस चीज में विश्वास करता हूँ, मेरे फादर हमेशा कहा करते थे कि हमेशा अच्छे लोगों के साथ बैठो, क्योंकि अच्छा बोलने से पहले जरूरी है अच्छा सुनना। तो जब भी मैं इस पैनल में बैठा हूँ या और भी जगह पे बैठता हूँ, तो मेरे को कोशिश होती है कि मैं अच्छा सुनूं। जब तक आपके पास अच्छे मटेरियल नहीं होंगे, अच्छी रेसिपी नहीं होगी, तो आप अच्छा खाना नहीं बना सकते। बहुत सिंपल वर्ड्स में समझाना चाहूंगा, मैं अपने क्लाइंट्स के साथ भी ये डिस्कस करता हूँ। तो वेन एवर आई एम सिटिंग विद अ क्लाइंट और अ बिग क्लाइंट, बिग इवेंट हैपनिंग, बहुत बड़ा ऑफिस है जहाँ पे सारी फैसिलिटीज है, टेक्नोलॉजी है, and they briefed me about the numbers and the growth and the charts and the pie graph. They have seen the success. I try to tell them a very simple analogy of making a चाय। हम सबके घर में चाय बनती है, तो मैं उनको समझाना चाहता हूँ कि कहानी भी सिंपल एक, it's just a simple recipe of preparing a chai. You need several ingredients, but the main ingredient is the chai patti, which is the protagonist, and the water, which is the plot. So these two characters, इनके साथ आप चाय बना सकते हो, but that will be a black tea which is going to serve a very limited audience. What do you want eventually? आप अपनी कंपनी की कहानी को ज्यादा ऑडियंस तक पहुंचाना चाहते हो, then you'll need many characters. For example, you might need a chai patti, a milk, water, sugar, adrak, ilaichi. Similarly, we'll need a little bit of more characters like a friend, a protagonist, a situation जहाँ पे वो प्रॉब्लम में फंस जाता है, कैसे उस प्रॉब्लम से बाहर निकला, कंपनी ने क्या चैलेंजेस फेस किए। फॉर एग्जांपल, अ कंपनी है 2008 में स्टार्ट हुई, उसने ग्रोथ देखी, बट सडनली कोविड लॉकडाउन आया, how they faced that challenges and how they came out of that challenge. This is very crucial. A lot of times what happens is, a lot of my clients always talk about, Rahul, we need to focus only on the achievements, only on the success of the company. Please do not talk about the negatives or the bad balance sheets which we had. But I always share them the recipe of wabi sabi, which is a Chinese Japanese philosophy. In Japan, they say wabi sabi concept, which means embracing your flaws, embracing your failures. There may be certain steps which you took wrong. So in the wabi sabi concept, they say that there may be certain steps which you might have taken wrong, which certain decisions, but you have to embrace that, because of which you can grow further. So in wabi sabi, if you have a broken cup or a broken utensil, in Japan they don't throw it away. They try to stitch it together, tape it together, and then use it. So this is how a company is formed. A company is never always about making all the right decisions. For example, Steve Jobs never made all the right decisions. Microsoft did not make all the right decisions. Google also started to make Google Glasses. It did not succeed. Amazon also came into the phone industry. It did not break the iPhone market. Similarly, all the companies also make certain mistakes. And when we tell the story of a company through a sand art, I think that way audience will relate more to that company rather than just talking all the good about the company. I always insist add some flaws because we humans have much more connection to the people or with flaws, a little bit underdog story जहाँ पे हमारे अंदर failure है, like Dinesh sir has mentioned, which is exact reference of Dan Harmon, जहाँ पे Dan Harmon ने बताया था कि एक story का एक ग्राफ होता है, एक अंडरडॉग कैरेक्टर होता है, बैटमैन है जो पहले उसको लॉस होता है, बहुत प्रॉब्लम फेस करता है, फादर चले जाते हैं, देन हाउ ही फाइंड्स हिज पीस, हाउ ही फाइंड्स द पावर, स्ट्रेंथ, फाइट्स एंड kills the villain. After that, he became Batman, and then he find his need. So this is how the story comes to a circle. And हमें हर चीज को कंपनी की कहानी को भी एक मूवी की तरह देखना चाहिए. तो मैं ज्यादातर मेरा जो कंसर्न है हमेशा क्लाइंट के साथ रहता है. I try to tell them your story is very unique and very expressive. Don't just kill it by saying only the goods about that. Also share the negative or the bad which you have done. That way people will relate more to that.
Wonderful. I think there is a common link in what Dinesh said and what you are sharing. The obstacle and solution and flaws are also like they are an obstacle. I'd like to come to you, Dinesh, along with what you're about to share with us. Please also share one more thing, that apart from the content of the story, there is also such a thing called andaze baya, like how the story is told. How much does that affect? And what are your thoughts on that? Are there any elements that you'd like to highlight for that? Are you on mute?
आई थिंक इस सवाल का जवाब मेरे और राहुल के दोनों के अलग अलग होंगे, क्योंकि हम दोनों का कहानी कहने का तरीका, मीडियम जो है वो अलग है, सैंड आर्ट और विजुअली। तो मैं जो यादों की बारात जो मेरा शो है, जो अभी राहुल ने कहा कि हर किसी की कॉन्फ्लिक्ट भी दिखाओ, वो भी बताओ, स्ट्रगल्स भी बताओ, तो यादों की बारात में भी मैं हमेशा ऑडियंस को या फैमिली को यही कहता हूँ कि जब मैं आपकी स्टोरी सुना रहा हूँ, आप केवल हैप्पी हैप्पी मोमेंट्स मत बताओ, अपनी लाइफ की स्ट्रगल्स बताओ, अपनी लाइफ में जो आपके गलत डिसीजंस हैं और उससे आपने कैसे ओवरकम किया वो बताओ, तो उससे ज्यादा कहानी इंटरेस्टिंग लगती है। अभी कहानी कहने का तरीका जो है, अब एक इंसान जो जो अपनी आवाज से किसी की कहानी बता रहा है, उसके टेक्निकल पार्ट्स तो हो सकते हैं कि अपनी वॉल्यूम, पिच एंड स्पीड पे काम करें, ताकि वो कहानी मोनोटोनस न लगे। जब भी आप कह रहे हैं, बातें कर रहे हैं और अचानक से हाई पिच में बातें कर लेने से ये हो जाती है हाई पिच मिले, और फिर अचानक बेस वाली आवाज आ जाओ, कहते कहते आप स्पीड पे काम करो, वर्ड गैप को कम बेसी, कम और ज्यादा कर सकते हैं। जैसे बातें करते करते, और उस समय जब वो गया वहां पे, उसके साथ कोई नहीं था, एक इंसान वहां नहीं था कि उसके साथ खड़ा हो सके, उसे ठाडस बता सके, लेकिन अगर उसके साथ कोई था तो वो था उसका आत्मविश्वास। वर्ड गैप का ही खेला है जब आप, और अगेन वॉल्यूम करते करते जब आप बहुत ज्यादा धीरे हो जाते हो, कोई बात कहते कहते, फिर एक ऐसा मोमेंट आता है जब अचानक से आपकी आवाज तेज होती है और आपको लगता है कि हाँ, मैं कुछ कर सकता हूं जीवन में। उस मोमेंट पे भी अपने आप को संयम में रखना, ये बड़ी बात है। तो ये केवल सिंपल 3 चीजें हैं, बहुत टेक्निकल है, मतलब मैकेनिकल होती हैं, लेकिन जब आप इनहेरेंट कर लेते हो इसे, आत्मसात कर लेते हो, तो फिर क्या होता है, वो आपके स्वभाव में आ जाती है। एक और चीज, एक्सपेक्ट द अनएक्सपेक्टेड, मतलब कुछ ऐसे मोमेंट्स जरूर डालने चाहिए जो ऑडियंस ने कभी सोचा ही नहीं होगा कि ये कहानी इस तरफ जा रही है और अचानक से टर्न हो जाए, तो वो
So
एलिमेंट्स।
plot twist, kahani mein twist. We need those
तो
twists
हाँ,
and turns.
हाँ, ट्विस्ट एंड टर्न्स की ऑडियंस ने कभी सोचा भी नहीं होगा कि ये चीजें आने वाली है और वो चीजें आ जाए। जैसे एक सिंपल सी लाइन है, जब कभी कहते हैं कि एक इंसान के जीवन में 2 लेडीज आती हैं, एक उसकी माँ और एक उसकी बीवी, और जब माँ सर पे हाथ फेरती है तो बाल आते हैं।
Hmm.
अभी
Hmm.
ये फन
बाकी
अपने
आप
आप है कि
समझ
बीवी
सके.
सर पे हाथ, हाँ, वो अपने आप समझ जाए।
You can
तो
understand how it follows.
हाँ 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 हाँ, तो कुछ भी ऐसी चीजें जरूर लाएं स्टोरी में जो कि अनएक्सपेक्टेड हो, कि अरे ऐसा भी हो सकता है।
Nice. So I want to
हाँ
ask one more. So this one goes towards Rahul, because you are also doing the art along with it, and you are given very particular duration. Sometimes your durations are very set, like it has to be like this many minutes. And so how do you select which are the parts that I'm going to select, or which are the parts I'm going to edit out? And then I'd like Dinesh also to follow up with the same question, that how do you select, like, is this interesting enough? How do you edit that story? Is there a system you follow for that? Which flaws or obstacles to keep and not keep?
So let me start by sharing 3 pointers which we follow. So number one is we try to tell the origin of the company or the storyline. What is the vision behind? That's number one key point, which is very important. The number two is about the underdog story. So we as humans, we always try to find ourselves in the story. हम कोशिश करते हैं कहीं ना कहीं हम अपने आप को ढूंढें, चाहे वो दिनेश भाई या मैं या कोई भी कहानी सुना रहा हूँ। हम महाभारत देखते हुए भी कोशिश करते हैं हम अपने आप को किससे रिलेट करते हैं, क्या मैं अर्जुन हूँ, क्या मैं कृष्ण हूँ या कर्ण हूँ।
क्या बात।
तो हर इंसान कहानी देखते समय या कोई भी कंपनी की भी स्टोरी होगी ना, वो अपने आप को ढूंढेगा कि क्या कंपनी ने मेरे रोल को रिकॉग्नाइज किया, क्या मेरा डिपार्टमेंट इसके अंदर शामिल है। सो एवरीबडी ट्राइज टू फाइंड देमसेल्व्स, सो ट्राई टू केटर टू दैट पर्टिकुलर इंडिविजुअल। तो ऑडियंस में जितने लोग बैठे हैं, दे शुड फील पार्ट ऑफ इट। इवेंचुअली जो अभी हम कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहे हैं या जूम मीटिंग कर रहे हैं, या हम 100 लोगों को सुना रहे हैं या 1000 लोगों को सुना रहे हैं, it is always that those people, what are they getting out of it? Eventually each individual should come out of that meeting feel like कि we are part of that. So मैं हमेशा make sure करता हूँ story should not be always about me कि मैंने क्या कमाल काम किया, मेरी क्या अच्छी कंपनी है. It should be about you. What are you getting out of this conference? What are you getting out of this Zoom meeting? आज हम ये जो artist conclave में भी बैठे हैं, what is the audience who's listening gaining out of it? So I'll work into 3 stages. Number one stage is about the underdog story. I keep the underdog part कि maybe हमारी कंपनी उतनी बड़ी नहीं थी. For example, Zerodha was not a big company when it started 2008. There were many big competitors like Reliance and other big brands, giants over there. But how it got success. Then second is I try to tell them the follow the theme of Mahabharat in any story. Why Mahabharat is very special? Because उसमें कई सारे characters हैं. Without getting into religious angle, we should look at it as a storyline. क्योंकि कोई कहानी अगर 2-2,500 साल से चल रही है, we should learn from that. क्योंकि वहां पे एक कैरेक्टर है जो काफी हद तक फ्लॉ है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कृष्णा इज माई फेवरेट कैरेक्टर, क्योंकि ही says something and does something different. He says that I will not fight, but he persists on fighting. Similarly, a company should always try to move on from the initial commitments they might have made, because as the time changes, covid में समय बदला तो लोगों ने अपने आप को चेंज किया. I think I try to tell them to work around all the storyline in these pointers. And thirdly, I try to, as I said earlier, about the flaws of the company. So इन तीनों कैटेगरीज में अगर हम लोग स्टोरी को कंपनी की लेते हैं, फिर हम उसमें डिवाइड करते हैं. If these characters should meet that, I am not at all interested in telling the numbers or the growth chart of the company. I am more interested in keeping the things which are important for my audience. That's why
Can
my
you
first
repeat?
question in the first meeting is about the audience.
Yeah. Can you repeat the three in one word?
So, underdog, telling your
Hmm.
story like a Mahabharat, and wabi sabi, keeping the flaws.
Thank you. And now, Dinesh, if what are your thoughts? Yes, really amazing. I'm loving every single
Amazing.
insight that's coming out of this panel. I'm sure our audience is really enjoying this. Dinesh, if you have any thoughts that are relevant to this particular question, and apart from that, one of our EEMA artist members, Sahitya, she wanted to ask that as anchors, we also are, there is certain demand that comes from clients at times that they want some new characters. And we see that when anchors dress as characters also, that also gets good attention from the audience. So if someone wants to do that, uh, how should they select the right character for them? Is there, if you think about it, is there a way to do that? Like, because every character cannot match with everyone's personality also.
नहीं, आई थिंक इसमें ना मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल देता हूँ। मतलब मैंने कभी कैरेक्टर्स, मतलब जो गुत्थी या इसके बारे में बात हो रही है।
हाँ जी, तो इस तरह
हाँ,
की
गुत्थी या मशहूर गुलाटी
maybe
या
Mastani of Bajirao you would like to
हाँ
become,
हाँ
you would like
हाँ
to
हाँ
become Gangubai
हाँ
maybe something like that.
हाँ हाँ।
हाँ.
इसमें क्या है कि आप जो भी कैरेक्टर कर रहे हो, उसमें क्या हम अपना एंगल दे सकते हैं, अपना इनपुट। जो गुत्थी कैरेक्टर है, गुत्थी को उसने कैसे परस्यू किया, सुनील ग्रोवर जी ने कैसे परस्यू किया, इसके अलावा हम बोल सकते हैं कि गुत्थी वाला कैरेक्टर मेरे अंदाज में कैसा हो सकता है।
Oh, interesting.
तो
So you
क्या
to
होगा
hold
ना,
that.
नॉट केवल ऐसा नहीं कि गुत्थी के जो कैरेक्टर में आ भाई थोड़ा टेस्ट कर ले, उसकी बजाय वो गुत्थी वाला कैरेक्टर उसी टोन को रखते हुए उनके जो कन्वर्सेशन है वगैरह जो है, वो आपके ये आपके एंगल से, आपके सोच में कैसे हो सकते हैं। और जहां तक बात है कि वो कैरेक्टर आपकी पर्सनैलिटी पे सूट करता है या नहीं करता है, अगर आप उसमें अपना एंगल डाल दोगे तो दुनिया का हर कैरेक्टर आप पे सूट करेगा। और अगर नहीं भी करता है तो जैसे एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल है कि इतने सारे संगीत और इतने वेडिंग इंडस्ट्री में करने के बाद में मैं तो कभी कॉर्पोरेट शो भी करता हूं तो उसे पारिवारिक शो ही बना देता हूं। क्योंकि भाई मैं जानता हूं एक लोगों को कैसे कनेक्ट करना है, उसे एकजुटता में कैसे बांधना है, तो फिर मैं अपना एंगल देता हूं।
Okay.
तो जब आप किसी कैरेक्टर में अपना एंगल डाल दोगे तो हर कैरेक्टर आप पे सूट करेगा। ड्रेसिंग ले लो, टोन ले लो, और उसके बाद में आप बी रियल, मतलब उस कैरेक्टर को अपने हिसाब से करो, न कि पूरी पूरी कॉपी करो। तो फिर वो कैरेक्टर आप पे हमेशा ही सूट करेगा, मुझे ऐसा लगता है।
Okay, wonderful. And also, there was another question by one of our other EMA artist members. This was from Sano. She wanted to ask that how does a performer how does a performer tweak their audience tweak their performance, because today audiences, as they say, have that real attention span. So Rahul, could you please shed some light on that, that how do we tweak that performance in a way so that we can keep the attention span of the real uh, generation that we all are, by the way.
So let me start with sharing a very small and short story. Uh, this is a story which I think you'll never forget, and it's about the motivation. It's called the Chinese bamboo story. It starts with a very simple concept of a farmer who gives a bunch of seeds to his son. Son, go plant this in the ground backyard of the house. तो उनका एक छोटा सा घर है फार्मलैंड के पीछे, और जहाँ पे वो सुबह सुबह सनराइज हुआ है, एंड नाउ उसका बेटा जाता है एक मिट्टी के अंदर कुछ बीज डाल के आता है. Similarly, he asks him to water it every day. Every day in the morning on the sunrise, he has to water it. He waters it, waters it. अभी वो फिफ्थ स्टैंडर्ड में है, वो सिक्स्थ में आता है, सेवंथ में आता है, 3 साल हो जाते हैं, 4 साल हो जाते हैं. ही डज नॉट सी एनी प्रोग्रेस ओवर देयर. वो बार बार आता है, उसमें पानी डालता है, एक दिन वो पानी डालना भूल जाता है. उसका फादर उसको बहुत डांटता है कि आपने पानी क्यों नहीं डाला, आपको डेली डालना है, एक भी दिन मिस नहीं होना चाहिए. अगले दिन से वो रेगुलरली फिर से अपना रूटीन करता है. 4 साल हो जाते हैं, 5 साल हो जाते हैं, देयर इज नो प्रोग्रेस. ही इज वेरी सैड, वेरी डिप्रेस्ड. He comes to his father and he's like, Dad, I'm not seeing any progress. Why are you making me water this land? This is just a simple land only. Why are you making me do that? After 5 years, in within next 6 weeks, there's a shoot that happens. A small sprout comes in, then a small tree, then it grows up to be a 90 feet long tree. It's called a bamboo tree. And then the father calls his son and asks him, Son, what did you learn? He said, I don't know. What are you talking about? He said, Ki, how much time did it took to grow? He said, it took around last month I saw there was nothing, but in 6 weeks. So it took 6 weeks to grow. He said, No, my son, it did not took 6 weeks. It took 5 years and 6 weeks to grow it from that tall tree, because for the last 5 years, the plant you have poured inside is growing its roots, it's gaining all the ingredients required, it's gaining all the energy, and it's making its roots very strong to sustain the growth of a 90 feet long tree. This story has always kept on with that child, because now he realizes all the hard work which we do during our schooling or college or in our events, That is building the character inside of us. That way, in the upcoming years, you may say that it's an overnight success. एक event किया दिनेश सोनी ने and then he became a very big success. Boman Irani did one film and he became a big name. It's not like that. There is a long effort, years of effort has gone into place. And then when they got a chance, it's on that chance they have hit a six. It's not that Sachin Tendulkar practices every day, every day, every day. He never skips, even if he's not in the team. It's that he's waiting for that one particular moment to hit that six. This is how the son is now motivated. So the reason for me to share you this story is it's the same way into live events as well. It's not like that it comes overnight to you कि अरे आज कल को मैं event करने जाऊंगा and I'll be make a successful event. Audience will love me. We will have to evolve and work around the story. And I always feel like it's all about the story, no matter even if it's a reel or an Instagram story. People are hungry for good stories. It's about creating that good, no matter if it's short or a longer format. Similarly, in the audience, the only advantage we have is already have at least 250 people sitting on the chair watching us. So we already have an advantage that we have their attention. If we are failing to gain and give them something very nice, then we fail as an artist or a storyteller. What we should try to do is to keep on getting their attention, and they always are willing to support you. Audience always wants to entertained and get listen to you. They will always support you. It's not that they are going to be distracted. If they are getting distracted, that means that's a lesson for you as a storyteller to improve on your craft. That is what I feel.
Okay, wonderful. So keep on watering that seed, and it's not going to be overnight. That's what we got from this answer. Dinesh, do you
I think
have a take on this? Also, apart from having a take on this, I also want you to shed some light on another question that our EMA artist member Sonika had asked. Because as anchors, sometimes what happens, we are told, oh, now we don't have time, just wrap it up quickly. So we are in the middle of that story, we have to wrap it up quickly. Or sometimes we are already done with the story, almost coming to the end, and we are told, no, 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 please take more time. So in these both situations, how do we either make it more elastic and stretch it? Is there a system for that? And how do we shorten it? Like, how do you do it?
ये मैं ना कल नहीं परसों परसों मैं हैदराबाद में परफॉर्म कर रहा था और वहाँ ये वो चीज हुई जो आज के करीबन 20-22 साल पहले मेरे साथ एक कॉरपोरेट शो में हुई थी। वहां क्या हुआ था और यहाँ क्या हुआ वो मैं आपको बताता हूँ।
हाँ जी,
बीच में कई बार
कौन सा है?
यूज हुआ है। तो 24 साल पहले मैं एक कॉरपोरेट शो कर रहा था और वो था हिली। हिली एक एरिया है दार्जिलिंग उधर के पास में। और वहां वो कॉर्पोरेट शो शुरू होने के पहले वो सारा एक ग्रुप था और वो एक बंदे को टीज कर रहे थे। और आई एम सॉरी फॉर द जो मैं अभी बोलूंगा वो मैं केवल टोन को मिमिक कर रहा हूं, मैं इसमें कोई भी वर्ड नहीं है। कुछ ऐसा गाना था "ता मैंने कहा नेवता बजे गा बजे के धन्यवाद", ऐसे कुछ एकदम गिबरिश ऐसा कुछ चल रहा था। और वो आदमी भी हंस हंस के उसे रिस्पॉन्ड कर रहा था। मैं स्टेज पे गया और मेरा पहली जो बातें थी वो ये थी, यार मेरा इंट्रोडक्शन छोड़ो, बाकी चीजें अपने बाद में करेंगे, मुझे बताइए पहले वो गाना कौन सा था जो आप लोग गा रहे थे। दैट वॉज अ मोमेंट। पूरा शो मेरे हाथ में एंड एवरीबडी अरे मैं बताता हूँ और उसके बाद में तो मुझे कुछ करने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ी। तो शुरू के 3 मिनट जो होते हैं ना वो ही है मतलब किल करने के लिए या आपको ऑडियंस को अपना बना लेने के लिए। कल ये हुआ 50th बर्थडे था और वहां बॉलीवुड या फन एंड यादों की बारात का मिक्सचर था। और ऐसे ही इवेंट मैनेजर ने मुझे बैठे बैठे देखिए बड़ी ना एनर्जेटिक फैमिली है, सुबह में देखिए इन्होंने एक एक्ट किया, ये बाबा जी बने हुए थे और ये था। तो उनकी जीजा साली के बीच में कुछ एक बातें हो रही थी और उसने कहा कि बाबा जी मेरी भैंस अंडा नहीं दे रही है, उसके लिए क्या करूं। तो ये वीडियो मैंने देख लिया और स्टेज पे चढ़ते ही मेरा जो पहला वर्ड था वो था, बड़ा खुशनसीब हूं जो आज आप लोगों के बीच आने का मौका मिला। भगवान मैं भी कभी भैंस पालू तो वो अंडा दे दे। जस्ट वन लाइन। और ऑडियंस का जो, क्योंकि वो सब उस बात को जी चुके थे, मैंने रिक्रिएट कर दिया उस मोमेंट को, और वहां से बातें शुरू हो जाती हैं। उसके बाद ऑडियंस मेरी थी। लगभग 2.5 घंटे बॉलीवुड या फन चला, और वो पूरी ऑडियंस उसी ढंग से। और बीच बीच में मैं वो भैंस का अंडा वाली जो चीज है वो रेफरेंस ले लो। मतलब कोई जीता तो बोले भाई मैं चाहता तो आपके यहाँ अंबानी की दौलत भी दे सकता था, लेकिन आपको मिलता है एक पूरी काली भैंस का अंडा। अब वो पूरे शो में वो चीजें हाईलाइट हो गई और वो भैंस का अंडा चल रहा था।
So
सूरत में
basically,
एक एक
yes,
चीज
please
और
tell me.
ऐड कर देता हूँ क्विकली।
Hmm.
दिन भर के कॉन्फ्रेंसेस चल रहे थे, मुझे 6:30 बजे माइक देना था, मिलना था, और जो 9 बजे मिला। और जो मेरा इंट्रोडक्शन नाम लेते ही जो वीडियो, मेरा इंट्रो वीडियो चलना था, वो नहीं चला। और मैं स्टेज पे आया, माइक ऊपर उठाया, इतनी देर में वीडियो चल गया। तो ये सारी चीजों के बाद में मेरा जो मेरी जो पहली लाइन थी वो ये थी, मैं चाहता तो था आप लोगों से बहुत सारी बातें, लेकिन सुबह से कुछ ठंडा खा लिया था तो आवाज गड़बड़ हो गई है। अब अगर आप लोग थोड़ी तालियां वालियां बजा दें तो हो सकता है मेरी आवाज ठीक हो जाए।
Oh.
सो वो 3 मिनट आप पुराने रेफरेंसेस ले लो उनके। और ये तभी होगा जब आप शो के पहले, एज एन एंकर मैं शेयर करना चाहता हूं, शो के आधे घंटे पहले जरूर जाइए। ऑडियंस में क्या हो रहा है वही आपका कंटेंट बनेगा, और आपकी पहली एंट्री को जो रील वाली ऑडियंस है, अगले 1.5 मिनट में आप कैप्चर कर सकते हो।
Wonderful, wonderful. And Rahul, what would be your concluding remarks on the overall art of storytelling? If that's one message that you want people to really remember or take away from this panel, from this interaction, what would that be?
I would like to conclude with the story of Walt Disney. Walt Disney was removed from his first job of newspaper, जहाँ पे उनको हटा दिया गया था because of the reason they have quoted was lack of creativity in Walt Disney. So जब Walt Disney को कोई ये कह सकता है तो never take anybody's feedback or negative comments about you very seriously. Online and offline, the world is very harsh. Always try to improve your craft. जस्ट टेल योर स्टोरीज। अगर आपको मंच नहीं मिल रहा है, बहुत बड़ा इवेंट स्टेज नहीं मिल रहा है, इट्स ओके, जस्ट गो ऑनलाइन, टेल योर स्टोरीज इन टू द रील्स, टेल योर स्टोरीज इन यूट्यूब। राइट नाउ देर आर सो मेनी मीडियम्स, people are earning money also, people are doing their as their bread and butter. So tell the stories, always craft your stories in a narrative manner. Like everybody in the panel has said, there should be a protagonist, a plot, a character, a learning, and then a conclusion. So you can tell any story, and it does not matter. I always like, I myself watch a lot of short reels stories. So people are now getting better into storytelling in 1 minute format also. Please go ahead and tell your stories, present yourself, be online, just present yourself on onto the internet, put yourself whatever the content you want. क्योंकि कभी ना कभी कोई कंटेंट आप आज डालोगे वो 2 साल बाद इफेक्ट आ सकता है। 1-2 साल पहले मैंने एक यूपी गवर्नमेंट के लिए एक इवेंट किया था, जो मैंने इंटरनेट पे डाला था, समवेयर आंध्रा गवर्नमेंट ने वो देखा, एंड जस्ट डे बिफोर yesterday I was called to Vizag for Visakhapatnam conclave, जहाँ पे चीफ मिनिस्टर वाज देयर। सो दे हैव फेलिसिटेटेड मी, क्योंकि मैंने कोई इवेंट कभी 2 साल पहले डाल दिया था। दे हैव केम अक्रॉस दैट इवेंट। सो डजेंट मैटर, जो भी आप काम कर रहे हो उसको इंटरनेट पे डाल दो, मे बी समवेयर इन द यूनिवर्स विल सी दैट एंड दे विल गिव यू गुड वर्क।
Wonderful. And Dinesh, yes, we'll be coming to you for the
इसमें इसमें
conclusion.
कंक्लूड करने से पहले केवल एक लाइन। मैंने और राहुल ने स्टेज पे जितनी बार काम किया है, रील्स और वीडियो के मामले में केवल एक बार काम किया है। और मेरी एक पिता को बेटी हमेशा छोटी क्यों लगती है, इस कविता के ऊपर में राहुल ने बहुत ब्यूटीफुल वीडियो बनाया है। तो कभी भी यूट्यूब पे जाओ तो राहुल के पेज पे आपको वो मिलेगी कि एक पिता को बेटी हमेशा छोटी क्यों लगती है। इस पे सैंड आर्ट राहुल ने ब्यूटीफुल नरेट किया है उसे, कहानी को।
So
और
audience do check
कंक्लूड
it
तो
out. Yes. Hmm. Dinesh,
कंक्लूड तो आई थिंक
you had to still answer Sonika also. she had asked that how do you wrap up a story that's ongoing quickly, like jhatpat when someone is saying cut, like we don't have time, or how do you make it more elastic? How do you stretch it out if they say no, 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 keep taking time? And along with that your concluding remarks.
ये राहुल की स्टोरी है। अपने आप को, उस बम्बू ट्री को नहीं, अपने आप को पानी, ज्ञान हमेशा देते रहो। एक टैंकर होता है ना, टैंकर, पानी वाला टैंकर, हमने देखा है कि उसके अंदर पानी भरने के लिए जो मुंह होता है ना, वो बहुत बड़ा होता है, और जो पानी बाहर आने वाला नल होता है वो उसके मुकाबले छोटा होता है। मैं कभी भी, जैसे यादों की बारात हो या बॉलीवुड या फन हो, किसी भी कॉन्सर्ट में जाता हूं, मैं कम से कम 4 घंटे का मटेरियल लेके जाता हूं और मैं 1.5 घंटे परफॉर्म करता हूं। मेरे जो एवी वाले और डीजे हैं वो हमेशा कहते हैं, सर इतना होगा? मैं बोला, भाई अगर हो गया तो हमेशा तैयार रहिए। वो कैसे करेंगे? वो आपके पास में अगर 1.5 घंटे की स्टोरी है, तो उस 1.5 घंटे की स्टोरी का 5 मिनट का सिनॉप्सिस आपके पास में होना चाहिए, कि अगर वो 1.5 घंटे की स्टोरी 5 मिनट में सुनानी है तो आप कितनी जल्दी सुना सकते हो। और फिर अगर एकदम तैयार रहिए, क्योंकि ये कहानी आएंगी और ये सिचुएशन हमेशा सबके साथ आती है। थोड़ा थोड़ा जल्दी निकालते हैं, थोड़ा जल्दी निकालते हैं। ओके, जल्दी निकालिए तो भैया क्या करूं मैं तो। अब जल्दी निकालते हैं, उसमें भी आप फन कैसे दे सकते हो? मैं एक बार कल, कुछ दिनों पहले ये इंसिडेंट हुआ, सर थोड़ा जल्दी निकाल लें, तो मैं स्टेज पे गया और वो कहा, अब मुझे कहा है थोड़ा जल्दी निकालने के लिए, तो मैंने फास्ट फॉरवर्ड में बोल दिया। अब आप समझ
He must be thinking why did I say, मेरी जबान टूट गई.
तो वो एक्सपीरियंस से ही आएगा, और आपके पास में 1.5 घंटे के मटेरियल को 5 मिनट में सम अप करने का भी हुनर होना चाहिए, विथ जब आप शोज नहीं कर रहे हैं तब। और 5 मिनट की चीज को 1.5 घंटे करने का हुनर भी होना चाहिए। ये केवल प्रैक्टिस से आएगा। जब आपके पास शोज नहीं है, इस चीज को प्रैक्टिस कीजिए।
Practice, exactly. I think that's where we sometimes, that's a gap sometimes for us. That's something we need to keep in mind. Arpita Chaudhary, our other artist member, had asked 2 questions, but you both have already answered them. She was asking how to incorporate storytelling into emceeing. You have shared that you have to be attentive about your environment. You have to go there half an hour before. You have to talk to the people you are performing for. You and Rahul shared that. And she had also asked that if you're not keeping a specific character, then which techniques can make the stories come to life? Which again, you guys shared your insights on that. Like you shared, use voice modulation, pace it out, and these kind of presentations you have to, presentation techniques you can use. So all the questions answered, but we
एक
are
लाइन,
go. Yes.
केवल एक वर्ड, स्वाति, सॉरी टू
Yes,
इंटरप्ट।
yes.
ऑलवेज ऑलवेज ट्राई टू, कि आप ऑडियंस में बैठे हुए किन्हीं 2 लोगों का जो कि इंपॉर्टेंट है, उनका नाम आपको जरूर याद होना चाहिए। तो आप जब स्टोरी टेलिंग कर रहे हो, अगर बीच में कहीं भी, वो चाहे कॉर्पोरेट शो हो या फैमिली शो में, तो डेफिनेटली यस, अगर आपने 2 लोगों के नाम याद हैं और बीच में किसी भी जोक या किसी भी टर्न पे आपने ये कर दिया कि उनका नाम ले लिया, तो शो आपका है।
Great. So now, before I let you go, we have such entertaining panelists. So we are not gonna end it without a small game, a storytelling game. It's a one-word story game. I'm going to put on a 1-minute timer. Dinesh and Rahul, you have to only say one word, and they should connect to each other. Dinesh says one word, then Rahul, you say one word, then back to Dinesh, one word, then Rahul, one word.
Okay.
Am I making sense? Yes, Dinesh? Yes. So one word, one word.
बड़े लोग,
1 minute
अपने
start.
से बड़े लोग पहले शुरुआत करेंगे।
Let's see what story comes out. Let's give our audience a mental.
Only single words.
Education. One word, yes. You can only speak one word each. Okay, and then keep back and forth. Just complete each other's sentence. One word, one word. Okay. 1 minute starts now. Dinesh, say any word.
बादल,
ऊपर से
फट गया था।
अचानक
बारिश की बूंदें
कोमल पलकें
भिगो रही थी।
उसका पति
जब देखा
उसकी भी आंखों में
वही ओस की बूंद थी।
उसने अपना हाथ बढ़ाया
और दोनों बूंदों को
हथेली में
रख के आसमान को दिखाया कि गीला तू नहीं, हम भी हैं।
Wonderful! क्या बात है! What a story! I love it that you improvised. That was the best part about this activity. Dinesh, Rahul, thank you so much for all the time that you have taken out, and I really traveled back to that memory that we always had of meeting of our get-togethers, and it was so educational and insightful, and so many questions we have answered. Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you, Rahul. And I would also like to thank our technical team who has helped us create all this. We have Afaq and Beer from Dreamcast, and also everyone who has attended. We need your feedback, your valuable feedback, which we will be collecting from you. I'll share the links on your WhatsApp groups. Do check that out. Over to our MC, Pooja. Take it from here.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Mute.
Thank you. It was such an enlightening session. It was so enriching, and honestly, काफी सारे parallel draw कर सकते हैं हम from what Balaji Gauri said, Dadi Paramji said, and of course what Dinesh and Rahul also mentioned about being authentic and about the transformation. I mean, yeah, lots to practice, and luckily these were all applicable techniques जो हम immediately we can start applying to our craft. All right, my dear storytellers, it's now time to go back to our worlds and start making new stories, the ones that will actually make a difference. But before we go, of course, I'd like to thank all our speakers, our panelists, Balaji Gauri, Dadi Paramji sir, Dinesh Soni, Rahul Arya, for sharing not just a part of your craft, but also the soul behind it. Well, thank you, Swati, for bringing these powerful voices together so that we could learn a thing or two, go out there, thrive, and tell interesting stories that move, inspire, and engage, really. And thank you, Geetika, for always being such a source of inspiration, for striving relentlessly towards making the world of live events a better place for all. Thank you, Dreamcast, Afaq, and Beer, for ensuring a smooth glitch-free session each time. And thank you, EEMA, for giving us this safe space to really grow and learn. And to each and every single one of you who's joined, well, you've not just attended a session, but you've invested in your craft. The power of storytelling is in your hands now. We can't wait to see all those unforgettable events that you'll create, those incredible stories that you tell. Keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you sometime soon.